Hi, I'm Monica Gingold and I am making this video today to help makeup artists with a couple of little tips and tricks to improve their technique. I'm going to go through a couple of common mistakes that makeup artists make, and these are just going to be some really easy ways to solve those little problems and give you a much more natural and more flawless end result. Okay, so first up, I'm going to talk to you about eyebrows, and eyebrows are super in at the moment. It's all about big, bushy, beautiful eyebrows. And as a makeup artist, we have to work out when our client asks us to do their eyebrows, how much do they actually want? How much more do they want from their natural brow? Do they normally fill in their brows a lot, or do they normally do it a little bit? Because sometimes we get really excited with the product and we might put too much on, and at the end they might love all their makeup but just go, oh, my eyebrows look really dark or a little bit too intense. So I'm going to show you two different ways to do brows, and what I would consider probably too heavy, and then just a more natural way to achieve a beautiful result. So I'm going to be using a NARS Brow Defining Cream, which is a really great product. But first I'm going to show you what I would consider too much and what most of my clients would give feedback to me as being too heavy. So if you are drawing in a solid line like this and painting it on, which we see a lot of this technique on YouTube and Instagram, and if that's how you like it, then that's totally fine. But if you're doing makeup on somebody else who has asked for something quite natural and subtle, this might be too heavy. So although this brow has a nice shape, it's so blocked out, it's so painted on, and it's really, really dark. So I feel like it's just too intense and too makeup-y. So even if as a makeup artist you might really like that look, you might have to remember that not all clients fill in their brows quite so heavily. And I know for me, most of my clients, the feedback on this brow would be that it was too much and they want it taken back. So on this side, I'm going to show you how to achieve a more subtle result using the same product. So what I'm going to do first is brush the brows, and I'm only going to fill in where I need it, which is here. I'm a little bit gappy here, and then thicken up the tails, but all through that, that's really good density in the brows, so they don't really need any more than that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just draw in hairs in the direction that my eyebrow hairs are growing. I'm not blocking it out, I'm just adding in the illusion that that's actually my brow that has grown like that. And then here the hairs start to turn down, so I'm going down this way and just thickening up this tail. So it's the same product and the same brush, but just from a lighter application, you can see how much more natural this is. Still got a really nice shape, frames the face really well, frames the eyes, but just nowhere near as painted as this. And people are much more likely to freak out with this eyebrow because it's so intense. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is applying false eyelashes. And for this, I'm going to be using a bar lash, these ones, strip lashes. And a very common mistake that a lot of makeup artists make is they put the lashes on too close to the end, and what that actually does is it gives the illusion that the eye is drooping down. So I'm going to put it on this side a little too far over so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so I've got the eyelashes on now, and on this side you can see it's hanging quite a bit further off the edge on this side, and on this side it's sitting a little bit further up. The way that you can check if your lash is in the right place is if you hold a tweezer or a brush or any kind of straight device on the edge of your eye, as that's sort of going up following that shape, that lash should just be sitting just on the edge of it, whereas you can see here that whole piece it's too low to the edge and it's giving the illusion that my eye is dragging down, whereas we actually want it to have the opposite effect. We want it to look like that the eye is going up and out. So see how that lash is right in line with the line of the bottom of my eye? And on this side it dips down. So that's giving the illusion of a droop. So now I'm going to talk to you about lip shape and lip liner. And a common mistake that a lot of people make is when they're filling in their lips or their client's lips, they go too far over the edge instead of bringing it up, and it can actually give the illusion that the lip is drooping down a little bit. So I'm going to do the wrong side first, and then I'm going to show you the right side on this side. So I'm starting in the middle, and sometimes when people want to make their lips fuller, they go like this. They overdraw in this part. But what we should be doing, like on this side, But if you want to overdraw, down here is fine. You can go in with a little bit of concealer and just to sharpen this edge. So it's actually just taking the edge off that lip. And I'm just quickly going to fill in the rest just to give you the full effect. Another thing people do is overdrawing here. Can you see how this side looks like it's drooping down? Because it's been overdrawn here, so it gives the illusion of it sagging, and even because I overdrew on this part of the lip. If you want to make your lips look fuller, a good little trick is to use a bit of highlighter powder and just popping it on the Cupid's bow here. So that gives the illusion that it's popping out a little bit more and a little bit more forward and fuller. So another really common mistake that some makeup artists make is by using too much powder highlighter when they're trying to achieve a glowy look. And the reason why that doesn't always work is because powder highlighters can be very sparkly and shimmery and are very white based or silver based. And when you put too much on, it can actually give the illusion that it's grey, and that actually makes it look flatter instead of lifted and highlighted and glowing. I think a highlight should look like it's the natural skin. It shouldn't look like frosty. So I'm going to show you on this side too much highlighter, and then on this side a nicer way to achieve a more glowy highlight. So a common thing that some makeup artists do is they load up their brush with heaps of highlighter, and then they go like this. And to me that just looks so white and frosty. That just doesn't look like that's my skin. It looks like I've got sparkles on my face. So on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, these are illuminating drops. And because it's a creamy product, I'm just pushing it into the skin. You can use a brush or fingers. And by really pushing it into the skin, it gives the illusion that it's just my skin that's glowing as opposed to having heaps of makeup on. So highlighting is really in, and it does look great to highlight the nose a little, but something that I think just really doesn't work for a lot of people is when you get heaps of highlighter and go like this, right on the edge of the nose. That makes me look sweaty and shiny, and it makes it look like my nose is bigger than it is, because when you put highlight on something, you're trying to make it pop out and come forward and reflect the light. And the tip of my nose is already the point in my face that sticks out the furthest, so I don't need to make it look bigger to make it look like it's coming out more. A better option is to do it like this. Back to using that cream. Just a little down the bridge. You can do the tip as well, especially if you've got a sort of shorter, rounder nose and you want to bring it out a little bit. But see, that just looks more like a glow and a highlight rather than a spot of highlight right on the tip of your nose. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is contouring, and contouring is a huge trend, and when it's done properly, it is fantastic. It can give the face dimension and definition and define your cheekbones and your jawline more. But if you can see it, you've got too much on. And it's a huge trend on social media to put heaps and heaps and heaps of contour on. And although it might look all right when you're filming a tutorial, you maybe got lights on you, when you go out into the natural daylight, it just looks weird. And people try to recreate it and they just don't realize when they go out how silly it looks. On this side, I'm going to show you a contour that's maybe a little bit too heavy and a little bit too obvious, because if you can see it, then you've got too much on. And on this side, I'm going to show you a more subtle and natural way to achieve the desired results. So what some makeup artists do is they load up their brush with heaps and heaps of product and then go like this and just go back and forth and even too far forward. If you can see a contour like that, you've got way too much on. So on this side, I'm going to do it a little more subtle. Same product, but I have a lot less product on the brush and I'm just blending it in. So you can see this side, it looks stripy. If you went out into the sunlight, into natural light, that's going to be really, really obvious. And this side is just the illusion of a shadow. It just gives the illusion that that's my natural cheekbone shadow. And that's all we want. A contour is supposed to be an illusion. It's not a look that should be obvious. Another important thing to remember is how far forward your contour should come. So generally the rule is from the edge of your eye down, like a straight line. We don't want it to come any more forward than that. And you can see my contours come all the way, it's almost at my mouth. That is just way too far forward. Whereas on this side, it just dissolves before it gets to that point. So when you're looking straight ahead, shouldn't be much more forward than that. So I hope you got some good tips out of that, and hopefully it'll help some makeup artists out there refine their technique a little bit more, and so that clients feel like their makeup is more natural and just brings out and enhances their best features rather than trying to make them look too different.